Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
What time is it?
I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story.
Now Miles to win the league, yes!
And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Werewolves of London.
Cannonball!
Well, hello and welcome to the Below the Rim show, a show dedicated to the BBL. It's me, Pabs, as always. I'm joined by my main man, Ads. How are you, sir?
Yeah, hi. Computer issues.
Computer issues, as always.
Computer says no.
As Mr. Grant Young, the Northern correspondent, the Braveheart. How are you, sir?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. How are we all? And I want to give my mum a shout out. It's her birthday today, so happy birthday, Mum.
Good, man. Can't ask how old she is, can we? That's not fair. You're not allowed to do that, are you? It's the wrong thing to do. I didn't hear that, thank God. The media guru that is Mr. Paul Nicholson is here. How are you? Oh, cracking open a brewdog. We should get a sponsor.
Yeah,
We've got two guys on the show tonight drinking brewdog, and one drinking strawberry and apple Aldi squash. So, all right, good. Working tomorrow.
I'm good. Thank you very much. Is that 2 days, 2 podcasts?
It is, isn't it?
Recorded our
Yeah.
Patreon podcast yesterday with Mr. Joe Hart.
He was.
Were
good.
you late for that one as well?
He was a good lad.
No, because we've done it in the office, so I was there anyway.
He was there
So,
anyway.
worked.
Yeah. He was there early because he shit the bed. Anyway, right. I might cut that out. I might not. We all know it's not being. We all know it's not being cut out because that's too much effort. Fellas, we're going to do some top fives tonight. We're going to rattle through our top fives for ball handlers, for shooters, for defenders, for finishing at the rim / highlight players. We're going to have a guards team, a guards 5, and a big man 5. Or I've literally written small 5, big 5, so we probably can take swing men in that as well. Otherwise, there's not really anywhere for them to go, to be fair. But before we get to that, we're going to try and go through some of the bigger talking points from the weekend just gone. Let's start with, well, obviously Lions we'll talk about, and Flyers, and the Riders obviously moving in a more Rider-like way, should we say? But let's start things off with the Northern correspondent, Mr. Grant Young. Caledonia, not the best weekend for them. Now I know predictions-wise you picked Caledonia both times, but off air you were like, not sure about this weekend.
Spot on. I wasn't confident. I'm quite glad you remembered that, Pabs.
I remember, like an elephant.
No, it was one of those ones where you watch it and when you look across 2 games, they've lost by I think 14 points combined. Ali Fraser played the second game with 2 and he instantly looked better when he was on court.
Yeah.
We've had so many away games. We've had 1 league game at home. We've had so many. And it's just, it needs to, hopefully, I'm hoping time all our home games come. I think we've got 3 or 4 in December that really helps us kind of pick up and kick on. But yeah, a 0-2 weekend, and okay, when you think who we played against, it's not too bad when you see Cheshire playing. Let's be honest, Cheshire playing actually pretty well this year. 0-2 weekend. I think a couple of weeks off, hopefully get Ali Fraser fit and we look up the way rather than down the way, because it's not a pretty sight. But after a couple of weeks of travelling, and because the Emirates has been used for tennis again, it's got the women's Fed Cup stuff on all week, so it's probably been out for 2 weeks. So yeah, no home games for us for a while. Almost forgetting what basketball looks like in the person.
Absolutely. There was some, I don't know how to put it. There was a bit of, not unrest. There was some concern. Online, various chat groups and whatever. Not anything other than concern that the new ownership just not to pull the trigger on anything. All right, this squad is young players. It's developing. I think we all had them finishing, and there's still a long way to go. I think very highly. I think they'll finish mid-table, if not top half of the table, especially with some of the talent they've got there. But there's some concern that They may pull the trigger on Gareth Murray, which would be ridiculous because of how things are, and I didn't know what we thought about that, or if we'd even seen that. Anybody?
Who's concerned about that?
There was a couple of fans.
Oh, they're bonkers.
Well,
there was a few things in the Discord about it, and people saying hopefully not, and not Gladiator fans either. I don't think they will. I think there's a project now in place, and this is just the start of it. I think I've said on this, and I've said it's been said on my podcast as well for the team, that this team was kind of recruited before the new ownership came in.
Yes.
But it's an exciting roster. Maybe what our pre-season worries of lack of experience has maybe come back and been true, especially on the road, with some inexperienced bodies. There's a bit of chat whether or not Sloan's great, but is he trying to just play a lot of hero ball rather than... Because in college, and I know Ads was a big fan of a college he was at, he was seen as being a massive facilitator, was top 50, I think, in division or in America last year for assists.
Wait, which college was he at?
I can't remember now. Ads, don't ask me that question. I said it was you, thinking you would just know off the top of your head.
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I remember the conversation.
I want to say it's North Tennessee. Or North something. But anyway.
Oh, okay.
But could he do more facilitating rather than having to try and do it all in the offensive end? Are we seeing enough from Bailey? Are we seeing enough from Adams? But we've all touched on in this podcast of how impressed we've been with Onwaz, and him and Sloan seem to be the two guys pulling everyone in the same direction at the moment.
I think that there's also a factor that the BBL is getting better. So there is a really it's easy early on to go, damn, these guys are good. Like, wow, this guy's great. Like, what a player. And then actually you forget that now we're in a different season, that actually every team's improved. So that player that we're talking about who's wow, he's amazing, we're still kind of thinking about last season.
Yeah.
Because that Caledonia team would have been phenomenal last season. Really would have been. But actually everybody's improving. Everybody's improving. And, it's hard to find a weak guard, like starting guard in the league this season. It really is. It's really difficult to find one.
I just think, you look at, and when you're looking at all the guards, we'll obviously touch on our kind of top 5 guards and stuff. There's a lot of very good guards, a lot of good combo guards. I just hope, from my Gladiators point of view, Sloan's able to be that, not just scoring but facilitating one as well. He's struggling, not struggles because he's not struggling, because when you're scoring 36 points against Leicester, but only getting 2 assists, should his assist numbers be higher compared to like a Cohen, a Fletcher, or whatever? Probably, yeah.
I was going to do this later on when we talk about the rest of the kind of games that we're going to focus on. I'm going to do it now, just for the simple fact that, look, everybody, just if you can, try and flash up the league standings as they are at the moment. And as we see, there's no surprise Lions at the top. There maybe is a bit of a surprise that Flyers are tied at the top there with them, only 1 game back in the loss column. Having played 1 extra game, obviously, but still, I don't think any of us called that. Riders are up there, Giants are up there. None of us are, shocked at that. If you look at the bottom of the table, as it stands right now, Gladiators third from bottom on 6 points, Eagles on 4 points, Surrey Scorchers on 2 points. Taking away, this is going to sound bad now, and I apologise to fans of the 2 teams I'm about to kind of isolate, but taking away literally positions 1 to 8, is 9 and 10 how we see this finishing? Eagles and Scorchers?
See, I want to say no, based on, I think that Newcastle roster is looking a lot stronger now.
Yeah.
But is it taking we've got a long time in the season left, but has it taken too long to get to that place? Kyle Johnson's just come in playing a wee bit. Evario's just there. There seems to be a lot of guys now there. It'll be interesting to see how they do as the season goes on, but I think they're in a much better place. And even Surrey, look at who they've just picked up.
Well, they just beat Newcastle, didn't they?
Yeah,
But that was in a game. Having watched that back, is that a game where both teams tried to lose that game a wee bit as well?
I don't think it's a game Surrey should have probably sewn up a bit earlier than they did. To be fair, the Eagles came back well.
I think also this time last year, we would be having this conversation, and it would be a serious conversation. I think let's not forget there's more games in the league this season.
Yes, a lot more.
There's more games in the leagues. It's not about who wins the head-to-head. You're playing each other 4 times. There's a long way to go, like really long way to go. Newcastle are going to pick up now. They're looking, like I said, they're looking stronger. Surrey are going to pick up. They're looking stronger. I'm still waiting for Patriots to play more than one game with the full roster.
But Patriots are already above them.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's too early. It's too early because you're talking. You're playing everyone 4 times.
Yeah,
4 times. It's
we're not even a quarter there, are we?
This season's a different beast. This time last season, yes, these conversations are serious because you actually go and hold up a minute.
Well,
they've already won down in the head-to-head or whatever.
Let's make it a little bit more serious, Ads. If Eagles and Scorchers are down there right now, and we're looking at this towards the end of the season, who are we swapping them out for? If you look at that list and look at the squads that are on that list, who are you swapping Eagles out for? Who are you swapping Scorchers out for? In terms of making it to the playoffs?
It's a tough one, isn't it?
Isn't it?
It's a really tough one. I mean, obviously, I don't want to say Caledonia because Grant will have a heart attack.
Don't say it.
So I'll say Caledonia. I don't know. It's weird, isn't it? It's another thing about how small the league is, and that argument is: does this actually make it exciting or a bit boring? But you see. It's not, if you look at it, it's not until you actually get to 6. No, not even that.
No, there's not a lot of points.
Not even that. Because Caledonia are 8-3, Newcastle are 8-2.
Yeah.
Plymouth 7-3. I mean, I think when you get to sort of 6th position, you could start shuffling around a bit, but I can't see Surrey coming out of this and making the playoffs.
You look at Patriots 3 and 4, right? You look at Sheffield 4 and 5. Mm-hmm. They've got each other this weekend.
Yeah, big game.
Patriots wins, that changes everything. Boom.
Yeah,
right. It's so early. So early.
I suppose
I would say to that is it doesn't change anything for the Eagles or the Scorchers, that game between Sheffield and Patriots.
No, but at the same time, that kind of makes it interesting because, as we know, at the end of any weekend, the table can be on its head. Once everybody's in line in terms of games played, it just,
You look at last season. In January, you're like, right, Patriots are done. They're not making the playoffs. And then later on in the stage, you're going, all right, Glasgow are done. They ain't making the playoffs.
Yeah, it's weird.
And then all of a sudden, completely changes.
Yeah.
But when you look at the league, I suppose you've got from 5 down are all, if we talk basketball in terms of less than 500, they're all got more losses than wins. So anything, we're still so early in the season that anything could change.
Yeah,
we all, with the exception of Bristol, the 3 out of the top 4 teams, we all kind of thought would be the top 3/4 teams.
Yep.
And we've probably been proven right. But with maybe such a small league and so many games, I don't think we know until probably February time.
You look at when Patriots played Cheshire, right? And Patriots beat Cheshire, and actually we're not far off that. But look how both rosters have changed since then.
Yeah, true. And there's still time to change rosters, isn't there? Up until March. There's always that to bear in mind. And Surrey, in all fairness, have brought in some. I mean, one of their players has made my list, or they may be slightly prematurely, but they've brought some decent players in. Just of late, just 2 signings, and that's changed their fortunes. They beat the Eagles. They gave London a bit of a Is it London? They kept Giants, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Giants. They ran a bit. They ran close.
Giants game of it. I think the guy you're talking about is the guy I like as well. Is it Paddy at Wang?
No, what later than that? Quincy Taylor,
Right. Okay.
the fastest player in the BBL.
Yeah, he's nice.
He's a great player. Well, he was his first season, Mr. Nicholson. Give me a look like that. He may have slowed his game down a bit now, but that guy was rapid. Let's move on. I'm just conscious of time for getting our top fives in. Flyers, big weekend for them. 2 wins.
Massive weekend.
We've talked about one of the wins already. I mean, the second win is... I mean, nobody saw it coming really, except for me and Ads. We both predicted it. Flyers beating the Lions. Let's start with Ads. Feeling good about that prediction?
Lol. Lol.
Do you think?
Well,
do you think the venues
else,
are thing?
right?
Oh, sorry, go on.
Maybe,
Yeah.
but if nothing else,
Absolutely.
I think it's starting to answer a question that you've been putting at the head of every show, Pabs, and that is, are Bristol legit? And for me,
that was a theme.
this
Yeah.
has moved them up into they're legit because they've beaten London. You know what I mean? It's like if you can say you beat London, then
All right, Sheffield is legit.
That's no fluke.
Well, the difference between Sheffield and Flyers is that the Flyers are currently tied for points with the Lions.
And we kind of don't expect that much out of the Flyers, maybe.
Well,
They
we
have
didn't.
played 7 home games.
We didn't. We had them right down. You know.
We've played 7 home games and beaten Leicester at home, Manchester at home, Sheffield at home, Caledonia at home, and London at home. Like, they're beating teams we all think are pretty good this season.
Yeah, at this point, they are legit, right? Right now, they are legit. And this is why we're talking about it so early. They are one double-header weekend away from them being on 5 losses, right? And then Manchester and Leicester just push on above them, and then they're 1 game away from being in 6th, right?
You could look at it
So
like that. Especially if you're a Southwest Derby opposition, you look at it like that.
This is how early and how close everything is. Like,
You say that though, 7-3. I mean, when do we stop calling it early in the season?
because the season's growing because it's a 4-game.
How many games they playing this season?
So we're 36 then.
Yeah, 36 is
That's maths.
So they're over.
So we're a quarter of the way there.
The
Yes,
fact
we're
of the
early.
matter is that London have lost again. You know, the unbeatable London. I keep reiterating here, and neither of our London correspondents are with us again this week because I'd love to hear their take on it. Because
Well, their
I
take is what it's always going to be. Is they're concentrating on Europe.
well, I mean, I was kind of thrown to the lambs when I suggested they'd lose a game this season.
Yeah.
And,
I didn't think they'd lose.
And they've lost 2 games this season. But are they shockers? Yeah, maybe a little bit. But I've seen them come close a couple of times. What was it? Was it playing against Plymouth that they came close? Where I was watching the game.
No, Caledonia.
It was just a game match where I'm like, my fingers on the button. Caledonia. Sorry.
And then you guys, then the Giants. You guys had them. You were
and
up.
the Giants.
And I would,
Just a quick one.
I would
Really
say on that as well. If William Lee doesn't go down, that's a different end to that game.
Yeah.
Just a quick one on Bristol. Sorry.
No, yeah.
I'm just looking at the next 5 matches. Bear in mind they've played 7 at home already. Cheshire, home. Sheffield, home. Surrey, home. There is a very high chance after that they are 10 wins. Okay, and then they've got to face
they've
London
got another
away.
3 home games in a row.
Yes.
4 if you
Then
include
they-
the cup.
Mate,
Then they've got
do you think this backfires on them to a degree? Because if they're
Yeah,
not as
'cause then they've
effective
got to play
away, they're
London
not going to
and-
be at home
London
ever
and
again.
Giants away.
Wow.
Before
Those
Christmas,
3
they go
home games.
London, Manchester, Surrey, Plymouth.
I know,
in December.
winnable home games as well. Very winnable.
That's a tough.
Man,
That's a tough.
Come January, the SGS Arena is going to be a very quiet place because there's going to be no games going on.
No,
but that's the thing. I'm thinking this, and this is what I'm kind of hoping for Gladiators is that when we get our home games, we'll start racking up more wins.
There seems to be a real emphasis on home teams as well. There feels like there's a definite advantage this season when you're in your own arena. I think the numbers have been run by Ali from BBL Maths, and I think Mr. Routledge weighed in on it as well with numbers regarding home teams winning. So that said, this could well balance out in terms of the Flyers, but like Ad said,
but isn't it ironic though? Isn't it ironic though that we've discussed it before that I don't think teams or anybody in the league sees playing London at home as we're playing London at home, because they just don't seem to have, like we've discussed before, that kind of regular fan base where you sort of, you come to Bellevue this year and it's intimidating. I mean, Paul, you were up here for the game. It's a loud arena and it's a loyal set of fans as it is in Plymouth. And
have any of you guys ever been to the games?
You don't hear that London have this kind of hardcore of 300 or 400 that are at every single game without fail.
Nah. Have you ever been to Flyers games?
An away game? No.
No. It's insane, right?
Is it?
Honestly,
Yeah.
their fans are phenomenal. So you got the benches. You got the benches on the sidelines. Literally 3 foot behind the benches, you got the first row of fans.
Yeah.
Okay, that builds up part way, and then they surround the baseline because they've taken down that scaffolding where they used to have the TV cameras. So then you've got a row of fans all the way around the baseline, and then you got the towel boys, right? The towel boys,
the dancing towel boys.
They're flipping towels in the air on free throws, screaming, and it's just so loud, and the roof's really low. And because the roof's really low, that sound is just there on the court. And you cannot hear a single word. There's a very small space there, and they make it very loud. It is very intimidating to play basketball.
It's probably like, Nicholson, you think you did, didn't you, go to the George Carnell the Giants were playing at?
Yeah, but that was more...
Because that was literally the front row of fans. You did that. Your hand was on the shoulder of the bench. It was like if you wanted to walk back behind the benches to get to your seat, you had to say to the bench, "Excuse me, can you just move your chair in a little bit, please?" It was deafeningly loud down there.
And it's sold out every game. They've sold out 10 games in a row or something.
They're just
that's more than that. It's like 58 games.
Yeah, they are loud as anything, and you can't hear your plays being called. You can't hear your communication on defense. It is an intimidating place to play.
But yet on the TV, it looks like it's just in a leisure centre.
Yeah, it's because everyone's the other side, though. That's the thing, isn't it? It's
because I remember seeing games there where it was literally people on chairs. It's like anywhere you can fit a chair, just put one down and sit down.
That's what they've done.
Yeah.
Because they just need to get more bodies in there. I don't know what the capacity is, but it's got to be something like between 700 and 800, something like that.
Right.
There's not many in there.
I'll be interested to see how eventually we know they are getting their own facility.
Yeah, whether
do they actually struggle out of it? Because it become less intimidating?
Yeah, it's one of those things. If they're involved in the building of it.
Well, you say that, but it's I've seen it happen because everyone was going on for years about the Giants should be playing in Bellevue. The Giants should be playing in Bellevue, and it'll be full every single week. And it's took them until last week. I think was the biggest crowd I've ever seen in there. It still wasn't sold out, but it was very, very busy. And I know that last season people were surprised that it wasn't as full as they thought it was going to be. But you're going from a venue where you've literally probably doubled and a little bit more the capacity in there, and you're expecting to sell it out straight away. It's not as easy as people think. So when Bristol get this new arena, I'd imagine they'll take that 700 fans with them every game. But if the capacity of that arena becomes like a Bellevue or a Newcastle or a Plymouth where it's 2,000 plus, 700 makes a 2,000-seat arena feel quite empty.
The positive for them is though that they, in selling out consecutively, they are turning a lot of people away.
Mm.
From that
and
respect,
with the improvement, like, let's be honest, as a ball club, they're and it's been touched on. We've said it, other people have said it. How the style of play is totally different from what Bristol have played before, and it's actually really good to watch now. Like Watson Gale, Brandon Mahan, VJ King has been brilliant. Like,
yeah.
For a guy who's got a British passport, Watson Gale must not be far away getting a wee call up for GB.
Yeah, he's had a good run. Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, for me, I don't think it's not too soon for me to say that I think we underestimated them and they'll be a solid playoff team, because let's not forget, prediction-wise, we had them maybe not making the playoffs in some cases. Yeah. So I think from that respect, they're legit in that sense, and they're legit in a way that they can take big scalps at home. That's a big thing, because let's not forget, Riders have played away from home plenty of times and come away with wins, so it's not that easy to beat the Riders on your own court. Which is a good segue for the last kind of thing I wanted to talk about regarding last weekend, is Riders starting to look more like Riders. At early doors, we were maybe questioning that without Gino, they looked maybe a little bit vulnerable. They started to show signs that there were maybe some cracks in the armour somewhere along the line. And this weekend, I feel like they first off they overcame a tough game against Cheshire. And Josh Bett's father, the two-time BBL Coach of the Year, Mr. Mick Bett, has been tweeting some interesting stats lately, BBL related specifically, and I really enjoyed his one on Riders and Phoenix. I think it was either that day or the day before that game, saying on the one hand, the Phoenix are the top defensive team in the league, allowing the least amount of points, and on the other hand, the Riders are one of the better offensive teams, averaging more baskets, and the two clashes together could make for a good match. I mean, did make for a good matchup. It was a 4-point win for the Riders, but then the Riders played the best game I've seen them play all season long against the Patriots, albeit a Patriots team that's missing Troy and going to be missing Joe Hart for the rest of the season. But the Riders turned up and they seem to love playing in pavilions, and that's the best I've seen them play. They were flawless. Their shooting percentage was ridiculous. Like Patrick Whelan, I think he only missed 1-3 all night. The guy was absolutely lit, like unbelievable. But the Riders have crept up to third in the table now, and obviously still got to play London 3 times. Got to play the Flyers a bunch of times as well, and they're the two teams that are above them.
I still think to get in that position, after watching him firsthand now, I just don't think Thornton's the one. You
don't?
No.
When you say the one, what do you mean?
Weekend.
I don't think he's a Riders point guard. I don't know. I just didn't see any.
We noticed actually a few times he took some early shots on the shot clock, and Rob wasn't happy with that. He was as he is expressive. There were a couple of situations where he did that. Yeah.
Where we ended up with open shots afterwards. He didn't see anything but than the average point guard. And I say average is because Leicester are used to having above average point guards.
The only thing I'd say to that is I thought they didn't necessarily rely on him at all, because Patrick Whelan and Mark Lovin didn't have a good game at all, but still ended up with like 20. I think he ended up with 20 plus points in that one. I can't remember, but he gradually crept up his points tally as the game went on. But he didn't play well at all, and they didn't really rely on him. Patrick Whelan was really good. Adekoya came on, did a shift. Kimball McKenzie is smart. He is a smart guard, and Connor Washington is just Connor Washington. We know what he can do. We know what he does. I don't know if they're that reliant on Thornton.
Well, no, they're not, and that's what the weird thing for Leicester is. You're used to just seeing them not rely on a point guard, because they've got depth, right? There's no doubt about it. They've got silly depth, but you're used to seeing a point guard in as the guy at Leicester.
Yeah.
And just Thornton, I don't know, just
maybe doesn't fit
for me. Yeah, just
I
didn't
mean,
see.
you used to see the point guard doing the man at Leicester, but now it's the two guard that's the man at Leicester.
Yeah, for sure, and he's doing a phenomenal job.
I mean, Patrick is just like you say. The guy is lit, and that makes me so happy with him being a Manchester Magic alumni.
Yeah.
You know, to see what he's doing at the moment, it's just the guy's awesome. The guy is awesome.
You know, and I think if someone like Thornton was a guard that was getting in the lanes and kicking it out to him, and you know, making those plays, I'm kind of like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Like if you have just a pure pass first point guard at Leicester right now, Leicester last season the best 3-point shooting team in the league, right? And they haven't lost many pieces. You get a guard that's going to get in the lane and just facilitate. Man,
well, I mean,
all day.
I'm just looking at Leicester's stats for the season, and Thornton's leading them with assists at 3.8. Now, the next team I clicked on to look at who's leading in assists is the Giants, and Ramon's averaging the best part of 10 a game, which is a point guard type of stat, right?
Mate,
you know, your point guard has got to be averaging between 8 and 12 dishes a game to be an effective point guard.
Can I say something just very quickly on that? And I'll say it quickly now. I'll probably say it again later on. I was thinking about this at the weekend, and you've obviously Ramon is leading the league in assists as he is the best passer in the history of the BBL. He would start on any BBL team right now.
Who, Fletch?
Yep.
Well, yeah.
Hands down. Lions, Caledonia, Patriots. He would start on every team.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Yeah.
No.
What's that got to do with Leicester?
I don't know what sort of point you're trying to make.
Just like you say, like if they had a guard like Fletcher, but this is it. Like Fletcher could start on any team. If he starts on that Riders team, could you imagine? Just
the weekly update of Fletcher. The
That's something I was thinking recently. But
Ramon Fletcher by Pablo Cheeks.
It's not. I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong.
See, I think it is, as Zad said, Patrick Whelan's the man with Mark Loving as his two man, and maybe the point guard is not as crucial to Rob this year. I think the league's got a lot more combo guards in it than it's had compared to maybe true point guards.
Certainly effective ones, yeah.
Well, you just have to look at Cheshire right now. Even Bristol, their guards aren't really point guards as such. They all can carry the ball,
make their own shots,
and make shots. So Leicester do look better. I think everyone's maybe just finding their role with Thornton in the rotation. What's he? He's averaging like mid-20s minutes a game. Connor Washington's averaging probably more minutes than he did when Gino was there. Kimball as well. I think Connor's almost 20 minutes a game. And I think the more that Zach Jackson gets fitter, as we heard he was hurt. What's he? I've actually just clicked on him. What's he playing? He is averaging 30 minutes a game, and he's basically 15 points, 5 rebounds.
He had a very good game.
He's averaging 58% from 3.
Yeah, he had a very good game against.
So if that's your main 3 players, and Whelan, Jackson, and Loving, then is your point guard as important?
I'm interested to see as well. Obviously, Darian Nelson-Henry played more minutes than he's sort of used to. But actually, post interview with, I forget who said it now. It might have been LVC. I'm not sure if it was Coach Paul James. He just said, like, you're playing against the team. You have to play 40 minutes against a team where... I think it might have been Joe Hart the other day. It said you're playing 35, 40 minutes against a team where everyone on that team only really has to play 20 minutes for them to be effective. Like, you've got, obviously, Whelan, Mark Loving taking the brunt of that. Zach Jackson as well, to a degree, but everybody else is around 20, 25 minutes. Or less. But Darian Nelson-Henry, one of the things that really hit home... just how big that dude is. Like, he is a monster. Like, he stood next to Hassan and made Hassan look like he was only 6 foot. And Hassan's a big guy. Like, Darian Nelson-Henry can boss this league to a degree, or be effective in this league, simply because he's one of the biggest guys in it.
Yeah, for sure.
Do we think they add to this roster? Do we think they try and pick up a different guard and another big?
I definitely think they're going to go get another big. because Leicester won't be able to compete with Manchester or London for that top spot or that playoff spot without having the rotation on Nelson Henry.
Yeah.
You're not going to get the best out of Nelson Henry without a rotation.
No. And the other question is, and I know it's early, but that's why we pay you the big money to make the predictions. I feel personally like Leicester have turned a corner. Can they crack the top? There's so many games left. We've said that they've got the Lions 3 more times. Do we think there's a legitimate shot that they could actually sneak ahead of them?
No.
And stay there?
No.
Ahead of London.
Think about London's games, right? London have played quite a few teams, and there's a lot of teams that they've been with or around with within 40 minutes, right? Glasgow came close, and a couple of other guys have come close. Mm-hmm. Sheffield beat them, Bristol beat them. There's one team that they've blown out because they got up for it. Leicester.
And Leicester played well that night.
They got up for that game. They wanted that game. The other games, they're kind of like, you don't see the same hype, the same energy. They just go in, get the job done, right? Sometimes they slip up. But Leicester, they got up for that game. And I think they'll get up for every single time they play them.
They had their, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they had their full squad for that Riders game. What happens if they've got the Riders at the weekend and a tough European game on the Wednesday?
That's professional sport.
Yeah, welcome to the world. Welcome to
just saying. They're not shy on resting players for European competition. If they do that,
Leicester have got plenty of double headers as well, and yeah.
Not in Europe, they haven't.
Yeah, but with all due respect, jumping on a plane and going 4 hours, or driving on a bus and going 7 hours, I think I'd rather be on the plane.
Not the point at all. The point is they'll rest players, and Leicester will fuck them up if they rest players. That's my exact point. Like, regardless of how long they've got to travel and all that shit, if they've got Leicester on the Sunday and a tough fucking European game on the Wednesday, and they decide we're going to rest players, what are you going to do?
The point is don't rest players. And I know
it's will be injured. Why did Ovi not play against Bristol?
Exactly. Ovi's going to play in Europe. He didn't play against Bristol. They lost the game.
Yeah, but that's not because they've got a European game. They've got a 2-week break now. He rested because he was hurt.
Okay.
They didn't rest it because he had a game.
It's the GB window, isn't it?
You got the window, yeah. So they haven't got a European game, so they weren't resting him for that reason.
But they've done it before.
So,
what was that roster against Sheffield like?
Everyone but injured guys, wasn't it?
But then they played Wednesday, so Decker played in Europe.
Yeah, but guys, the point of this London team is, this all-conquering London team is that they can do that and still win everything, which they seemingly can't.
No, they're not. That's the point. That's what I'm saying. So what?
Yeah. When they have players missing, whether it's injury or resting them, they become vulnerable.
What's the losing record at the moment? Is it 4 games off the bounce at the moment? 2 in BBL and 2 in Europe.
Yeah.
Maybe 5.
Do you think?
But what I'm trying to say is that, we were led to believe that this team had recruited the way it had and spent so much money the way it had was so that they could afford to rest maybe 2 players and still dominate. And it's not really happening that way.
It's not at all. Is that something that's going to change? Do we think they're going to find a gear and get through it?
Who cares?
Or are they in trouble?
I think they're going to be fine. I think they're going to win the league. I think they're going to lose a couple more games.
Yeah, they're going to. It's like I said last week, right? They've now lost 2 games, and if we are still saying we're early in the season, there's a long way to go, which there is. They're not going to go unbeaten now, are they? Realistically.
Let's flip that to Riders. How many games are Riders going to lose from this point out? Bearing in mind they've got to play the Lions 3 more times as well.
I'd imagine that they've got a couple of losses in them as well, but I just don't think we're going to. What do we say? It's 36 games this season. I don't think we were ever going to see a 36-0 record in the league this year from anybody.
I know.
I wanted that fairy tale.
Huh?
I wanted that fairy tale.
Well,
I don't think. I think we'll struggle to find teams go 30 wins. I think most teams will get. I think the winning team might lose more than 6.
You got to be saying that something like 30-6 would be a great season.
Well, if you look, we're quarter of the way through and you've lost 2, or if you've lost 2, which obviously they have. Riders have only lost 3.
Yeah, but I think the differences between London and Leicester is Leicester already played with each other before. They've changed like one body, where London is a group of new guys just coming together. So those early stages, they're still figuring it out. They're still figuring out roles and things like that. So I think if they're going to lose ones, they're going to lose them early and then pick them up later. Where I think Leicester would be the reverse because they've already got that cohesion.
Ron, anything?
I'm just looking at what teams have played, and when you look at like London, for example, it seems Josh Ward-Hibbert's getting a lot more playing time in the last few games, which is great to see. We've touched on it before. They don't seem to have a point guard. They turn the ball at crucial times against Bristol. They turned the ball over, whether it was Luke Nelson handling the ball or I think Quealy as well, maybe. And you're just thinking, and then Van Nistelrooy was there but didn't suit up, and he seems to be struggling as it is. They're struggling for players, so I think they'll drop more games. Leicester could be quite gritty, and I don't know. I can't decide what I think. I think it's still too difficult. Don't know.
Fair.
But we've always said it though that Leicester kind of just go about their business.
Yeah,
don't they? They just kind of get on with it. And if you, I was looking at their team stats a couple of minutes ago, and if you look at it, it's like there's nobody that's setting the league on fire statistically. The top scorer is Patrick with 16 points a game, which is great, but it's not 20 odd points a game. Total rebounds a game, Darren Nelson-Henry 5.6. Average steals 1.1. Patrick assists 3.8. Thornton. Those aren't stats that are lighting the, setting the league on fire, but they've always been like that. They kind of just get on with it.
Do you think there's the only other thing on it is that obviously Leicester, London's focus is European basketball almost first until they get to a certain point, and maybe that shifts back to domestic. Whereas Leicester, whether they're in European competition or not, their focus is and has been for a number of years is domestic success. That's the only other thing that could play into it.
Well, how long is it before London could potentially not have Europe to worry about anymore?
I don't know. I'm not sure how that works. If I'm
Nicholson, what's the crack with London? How much longer can they be in Europe for?
Is it not till February?
Or how many more times can they lose before Europe's done?
I think I don't know exactly what it is, but they've got games. Yeah, you're right. They've got games up until February, right?
Yeah.
I think if they lose, God, off the top of my head, I don't know. They lose one.
Maybe it'll get to a point where, even though they have got games till February, it could be a done deal by Christmas. If they
Do you know what? I wouldn't want to say because I don't actually.
This is what we talked about last week. If there's only so many teams that go through from the group, and mathematically,
I'm actually looking at their rosters stats, just Euro Cup compared to BBL, and see some of their big guys. Their performances are not too different percentage wise. Ruban's averaging more minutes, about 6 more minutes in Europe. Zubcic is about 4 minutes more. It's interesting how their team plays different. They just don't have a point guard. Like Luke Nelson is not a point guard.
No.
Aaron Best isn't a point guard. And I'm actually surprised they've not gone and looked for. I don't know who else would. They would need to be a British guy, or they need to make a cut from their roster to make it happen. And I don't know who they'd cut.
They'd have to bring one in and drop one out. Yeah, unless they do what they've done previously and bring one in just for European competition and not play domestically, which is something they can do. And they can.
But then in the BBL, there, when Luke Nelson's playing as their point guard, he's getting made to look silly at times. By got better point guards going past him. He's a shooter. He's a combo. He's a wingman shooter, 2 guard. Yeah. That's what he is. Catch and shoot. Luke Nelson's your man, but he's not a great ball handler for you.
Oh wow! I mean, okay, so I'm just looking at this tape. They're in a group of 10. So
18 games, I'm sure it is.
You would assume that 8th place at the moment. So you'd assume that it's 20 games, right? Yeah, no,
18. I think you said, yeah.
18. Sorry. So yeah, and there's a line above 9th place, so it looks like if you got to finish in the top 8.
So they
do something.
They've won one game so far. I mean, again, they've got a fairly long way to go, but they've got to start picking up some wins.
Well, they're 1-3, and the team that at the top of that division is Hapoel Tel Aviv, and they were 3-1. So, yeah.
They've also Decker's only played 2 of those matches in Europe, and he got injured within the first few minutes against.
Yeah, that was a big blow. That was a big blow for him.
Yeah.
So
genuinely, their European aspect of it could very well go down to the wire as well if it's that sort of that many teams can qualify. They're very likely to pick up a few wins. And
there's two groups of 10 teams. There's 20 teams all in all. 4 don't make whatever the cut is.
Yeah. So I would say that plays into the riders' hands, if I'm honest with you. Just the very nature of that. Taking more European games and more focus on Europe rather than domestic, that plays into the riders' hands.
But I don't think you can discount Giants as well.
Giants, Flyers, even they're up there.
I feel like the only reason we're talking down, we're not talking. None of us. We've all said how brilliant Flyers have been so far this season, but probably because of where we said it'd be pre-season, we're still wary of including them in that kind of top bracket with the other 3. But Manchester are looking good as well. Like with Fletch, they've got the Green and Williams and Lee is like. There's just the only thing for me that Manchester lack is depth. So if they get an injury, how are they going to cope? But yeah, they're a brilliant team as well. So the top 3 big names, but
they're actually deeper than you think, And there's a guy that I hope starts getting more minutes because he's the only legitimate, in my opinion, true 5 in the league, and that's have you guys seen Legend?
Robertson Legend.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about Darian Nelson-Henry being big. This guy is big. He's legit 7'1". He's built like a brick shithouse. He looks like he's built like a young Shaq. Just huge. And you're sort of watching the game. I sit with John Tresvant and watch the game, and we're forever comparing it to the 90s as we do, being old men. We're saying this guy. Get a ball into him in the high post. He finds himself a nice little easy, baby hook shot. It's in every time, and whenever they do that, he's there. The guy's a beast, and I just hope Vince starts using him more. But what we're also seeing as well, and I'm made up again for personal reasons, is that young Nathan Robinson is getting better and better every game too. Nathan being the son of Mark Robinson, perhaps.
Yeah.
And the kid's a bucket. I mean, against London, he was awesome.
He looked good the weekend before last,
And he had 15 points in the last game, and he's sort of earned his minutes. Like he's getting more and more minutes every game, and the more minutes he gets, the better he plays, and the more effective he is. And Vince is having to go, do you know what? I'm going to leave this kid in because he's hitting threes for fun. He's pretty effective on defense and he can pass as well.
Yeah.
So it's like you're not quite seeing the depth that they have actually got. Plus, as well, Callum's role I like, and I know he likes it from interviewing him. He's getting sort of 6 to 8 minutes a game purely as a backup for Fletch. When Fletch needs a breather, Callum's in the game. But when Callum's in the game, he's being effective.
Yeah.
Which is great because I've been saying for ages that he's still got BBL basketball left in him. So they're a little bit deeper than you think, but Vince hasn't quite not figured out his rotation. He's got a lot of great players to give minutes to. You forget that Nick Lewis is there in the battery. Oh yeah, we've got Nick Lewis as well.
Yeah, I like Nick Lewis.
He's great on any given night.
Why? Adds question for you. Why do you think Corey Johnson's maybe getting obviously less playing time or playing in that rotation, or maybe Nick Lewis, because he was a pretty big player at Leicester, big at Newcastle. Why do you think he's
a shooter out and out? So I was expecting to see more of him in a Vince team. I think, to be fair to him, he's been carrying a bit of an injury because he didn't suit up for a game or two. I've noticed one of his legs is heavily strapped. But I think that once he's back to full fitness again, he's just another guy that you can rely on from
I suppose it's tough when you've got guys like Taj Green, William Lee, Fletcher, Williams. Like, he needs to find his place, I suppose, in the roster. Well, if he is fifth or sixth man, then fair enough.
And it's quite exciting to watch when you've got this incredible starting five. You're thinking, well, there's guys there that've got to really fight for the minutes, but when they're coming on, they're doing just that and doing a good job. They're a contender. They're definitely a contender. Maybe not for the league, but for a trophy or a cup or, making some noise in the playoffs, they're a contender for sure.
Right, fellas, let's hit the top fives. Let's. So we've got multiple categories: ball handlers, shooters, defenders, finishers at the rim / highlight players, and then we've got we've got a smalls team, which can include wingmen, and a bigs team, which I guess can include bigger wingmen, but mainly the big power forward centres. Blah blah blah. Let's start with ball handlers. Just fire out your fives and let's see how different. I'm assuming we're going to be, in some cases we could be completely different. Maybe in most. Grant, man, what you got for ball handlers?
So my five, I've got Sloan, Cohen, Dusha, Fletcher, and Miller.
Ooh, I got.
Is that 5 to 1 or 1 to 5?
I've got 3.
That's in no order.
Just
okay.
5. I've got 3 out of those. Nicholson.
Okay, I've got
Dusha, Issa Brandon, Antonio Williams, Rashad Khan.
Rashad's handles are pretty sick, man.
I got
Saeed Nelson.
Yeah, Saeed Nelson,
yeah.
Connor Washington, Antonio Williams, Sloan, and Fletch.
Ooh, I got 2 of those, but one of them's different. Ads, my man.
I got as far as Fletch, Antonio, Saeed, and then I got a bit bored trying to figure out which point guards that are up there because I don't know.
Okay, think of another few so I can post them on Twitter later on. I've got Fletch, Sloan, LVC, Mike Miller, and I've got Saeed Nelson as well. So I think we're fairly similar across the board there. What was the difference?
I said Miller from Bristol.
Yeah, I got Mike Miller.
I had Nichols penciled down as well.
Kipper.
Yeah.
That's a different one. Who else had Fletch?
Me.
Yeah.
Alright, cool. So we all got Fletch, just to confirm that. Who else had LVC?
Me.
Nicholson, you didn't have LVC.
I'll happily add Douchy to my list, but I've got to say I was surprised that you lot had him in your lists, so I'm happy to add LVC to mine as well.
LVC is his game over the last 3 as just like we all know he's capable of doing it. He's never really had to necessarily do it as always being classified as like a backup, but he's gone like Superman.
He's been really impressive this season so far.
He kept the minute against the Riders. Yeah.
And it's probably actually a blessing in disguise that Plymouth had some injuries that's meant he's had to step up and shown what he can do in that team because he's been brilliant the last few weeks.
Friend of the show, LVC Dusha there. Good man. Let's move on to, let's see what we got for shooters. Who wants to go first this time? Nicholson, do you want to go first?
Yeah, okay. I got Lovin, Dirk Williams, Decker, Whelan, and Zubek.
Ooh. Didn't even think of putting him in there. Grant.
I've got Jackson, Williams, Decker, Zubcic, and King.
Who was the last one?
King from Bristol.
VJ King.
Yeah.
I'll give ads a little bit longer. I've got Mark Lovin, I've got Sloan, Patrick Whelan, I can't remember his first name, Wojtek Hruban, and Sam Decker. Ads, who you got, my man?
Dirk, Decker, Patrick, and Mark Loving. I have 4. I'm not gonna fudge it because I just feel like I haven't seen enough.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I've not
fair.
seen everyone play yet.
That's fair.
But they're the 4 that sprang out to me.
I
don't know why I didn't put Patrick Whelan in there, but I know I've got him further down my list of stuff. But
I was amazed. Did you have Sloan?
who me? No.
Yeah, Sloan's shooting's been. I mean, I've enjoyed, especially that game against the Lions. He just seems like one of those guys that can just go off.
I mean, if we're doing it purely as like favourites, then I'm going to add Nate Robinson to it because the last 3 games, the guy's shooting has been sensational.
He's had the hot hand.
Look out for Nathan, man.
Defenders. This one's a little tougher in a sense that some of this is very much eye test. It's not all in the numbers. But I'm going to go first on this one because I haven't gone first on the other ones. Issa Brandon, Jamal Anderson, Larry Austin Jr. I've got William Lee, and I've got Ramon Fletcher.
Have you got Ramon in every category?
I don't have Ramon in every category. You cheat. I didn't have him in shooters. But he's defensively this year. He's been. I mean, he's up there for steals. He has been. Nicholson's shaking his head. Anyway. Grant, let's have yours.
Enough players in that roster.
The thing for me
I've got Issa Brandon, Jamel Anderson, Mark Loving, Obi Soko, and Mark Lee.
Hey, Mark Loving's good. Underrated defensively, I think. Nicholson, let's give ads a little bit longer.
Del Pesh from Bristol.
Oh, yeah.
William Lee, Sharma, VJ King, Jamal Anderson.
Nice. Ads?
I've got 5 for this one. William Lee, Jamal, Ramon, Mark Loving, and Del Pesh.
You got Ramon as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
These raised eyebrows are beginning to upset me.
It's weird, isn't it? It's weird.
Right. People talk about Ramon. Even Ramon talks about it being the OG and he being old. He's only 34.
That's
and
bad,
look at the numbers he's putting up. The guy's incredible in all areas. I am here to tell you, Pabs, that you were the chairman, the CEO of the Ramon fan club. Well, I am now vice CEO. Always a huge fan, but now just seeing the guy week in, week out, it's so different with players, though. Don't you find that when you get to see them week in and week out?
Yes.
When guys are playing for other teams and you love to watch them. You watch them when they play your team, or you watch them when they're playing in a big game against somebody else. But when you're getting to see them play against the weaker teams, the strong teams, week in, week out, you see so much. It's obvious you see so much more, and seeing watch every week is just a privilege. Love the guy.
We need to get him on the show.
He'll do it. He says every week he's up for it.
Just so I can hear. I'd happily just be an observer to watch Pabs talk to him.
Shut up.
Maybe while this window's on, we can get him on.
Mike, the biggest thing with me and him defensively is that when they switch and a big man he guards a big man. He's just so good. Like, it's ridiculous. It shouldn't be able to do it, but he can push the dude out to the point where they don't even bother trying to go back in the low post because he's too strong. It's mad. It's great to watch. I'm obviously a big fan, but defensively I think he's underrated. Anyway, finishing at the rim / highlight reel player. Nicholson?
Oh no, that's 2 different ones, isn't it?
Well, we put it into one. But
can we make it 2? Because I can't put mine together.
Go on, let's do.
Yes,
what do you want to do
2
first?
very different things.
Do finishing at the kind of. Do finishing at the rim first then.
Okay.
Go on then, Nicholson.
Hassan, Larry Austin, Zach Jackson, Sloan, and Decker.
Okay. Grant.
I've gone Sloan, Hamlet, Fletcher, Onwaz, and Ali Fraser.
Ali Fraser in the paint. Adds my man.
He's hardly played, but he's brilliant.
I don't get the category anymore. What?
Finishing at the rim.
So just finish, not like highlight.
No, we'll do that
film.
next. I've merged mine, so mine is one list. So if you want to do one list, that's fine.
Well, I'm going to do one list then. Wang, Lee, Taj Green, Sloan, and Dirk.
Yeah.
Did anyone see Dirk's dunk the other night?
No, I didn't.
Oh, nasty.
I need to look back at that. I missed that one. I've merged as well, so I'll do mine now, and then you guys can do your highlight one. But I've got Taj Green, William Lee. I've put Mike Miller in there because I think that guy can get to the ring and finish for a smaller guy. I think he's good. Hang on, how many is that? 1, 2, 3. Sloan as well for the same kind of reason. I've got Antonio Williams in there as well for purely just for getting to the rim and finishing. But the fact that coming back from injury, like the first play they ran for him at the start of the second quarter was a backdoor alley-oop, and then the same again the next game against the Riders. It's just phenomenal. Yeah, big fan of that.
Hey, he just needs to get up and dunk it.
Still carrying an injury, like still able to get there or thereabouts. But that they were my ones. So you two guys, Grant and Nicholson, you need to go with. You've done the highlights as well. Who wants to go first?
I'll go mine. So my highlights: Wang, Anderson, Taj Green, Sloan, and Ovi Soko.
Oh yeah, Ovi. God, go on, Nicholson.
Antonio, Sharma, Decker, Sloan, and Green.
I don't think I've seen enough of Sharma.
Man, that guy can catch an alley-oop.
Yeah.
Jesus.
He's a big dude, isn't he?
Yeah, very.
So he's in the GB setup, isn't he? For the or he's in the squad.
He's into the next stage.
Yeah, good.
He's in the long list, wasn't he?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're down to guards or smalls and bigs. Let's go with Ads. You want to do a guards / smalls 5 for the season?
So we're not just talking point guards then, we're just talking
Smalls.
ones,
So we go with wings, yeah, combos and whatnot.
Alright, for smalls,
Go on then.
I'm going to go Fletch, Ovi. Can you count Ovi as a small?
No.
No?
Maybe a little bit too
no.
big. Maybe
Too
more
big.
of a... Yeah.
See, I've thought this up because I thought that we were doing this in point guard, whatever.
Do it. Yeah, do that. It's fine. Mine are mostly guards anyway. In fact,
Yeah, I've gone point
they
guards.
are all guards.
Yeah, right, do yours quickly, Pabs.
So I've got, no surprises, Ramon. Sloan. I've got Mike Miller in there. I've got Patrick Whelan. Now, I'm not see... I really wanted to put Quincy Taylor in there because I think his impact on Surrey coming in has been phenomenal at both ends of the court. But he's given them a real new dimension in terms of coming in as a guard. But also, I've been so impressed with Issa Brandon. Defensively, his offensive game has really kicked in. I think he's the best defender in the league. So I'll go Issa. So Fletcher, Sloan, Miller, Issa Brandon and Patrick Whelan for me.
Mine is Pat Whelan, Sloan, Miller, Hamlet, and then Watson Gale.
Watson Gale's been very good, hasn't he?
Just love watching the guy shoot.
Nicholson?
Right. I have gone Sloan, Fletch, Nelson, Miller, and LVC.
LV, he has been brilliant.
The only reason I've got LV over Antonio is just because of the games played.
I feel like I've done LVC a disservice actually by not putting him in. I may trade him up for Issa. Ads?
Right, I'm going to go Ramon, Sloan, Patrick Whelan, Dusha, and I wasn't going to put Antonio in until you mentioned getting, but I'm going to put him in anyway. If he was playing, he'd be in there. So when's he back?
For sure. Well, he's playing. He's just gone from limited minutes. So he played against Leicester. He's still finding his feet a little bit.
He was hobbling a bit, wasn't he? Which was a bit disconcerting.
More pain than injury. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think
Still not good.
Not great, but yeah.
Could be better.
Yeah. Biggs then. What we got for Biggs, Grant?
Hassan, Kufos, Leary, Bennett Cook, and I'm gonna put Ali Fraser in.
First mention of Bennett Cook tonight. He's starting to look more like he was when he first came to the league, and everyone was kind of impressed with the way he moved, like a big man, could do multiple things. He looks like he's getting back to that a bit, doesn't he?
He looks quite a big focus in their offense, which I think helps him.
Nice. Nicholson, my friend?
Hassan, Lee, Delpesh, Nelson Henry, and Kufos.
With Delpesh at Bristol.
Bristol, yeah.
Malcolm, that isn't it? Yeah. I've gone Zubcic, Hassan. I've got Hruban there. He's big enough to be a big, isn't he?
Nah.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I'm not giving you Hruban.
He can't. He play power forward as well.
Is this when we talk about twos playing threes, something fours?
Okay, I kind of him then. William Lee, Taj Green, and I need one more. I'll go Delpesh actually.
See, I was between Ali Fraser, Delpesh, and Michael Chorobia.
Big Mike.
Right. Nicholson's very aggressive. The faces, isn't he, today? Turns up late, opens his brew dog, passes all his opinions, gets quite aggressive.
Recording some of the video for this. It's been fun.
Please don't.
Ads, my man. What bigs you got?
I have got Tash Green. I have got William Lee. I've got Mark Loving. I've got Ovi, if I've got to have him as a big. And I've got Jamal Anderson.
Nice. We happy with that?
Jamal's leading the league in minutes, you know.
Is he?
Yeah.
Who is?
Jamal.
Is he?
Right. We've done that 5, so we're not going to do a BTR 5 of the week. I think we're all 5'd out, if I'm honest. Let's head to let's head to the predictions. I've got a total sum up now. So first game of the predictions, Flyers, Gladiators. I picked the Flyers. And everybody else picked the Gladiators. Gutted. Then Nicholson picked Surrey. And everybody else picked the Eagles. So good one for Nicholson. Everyone else gutted, including myself. We all had Riders over the Knicks. Grant and Ads had the Riders over the Pats. So me and Nicholson are left with our bollocks in hand. Now this one I'm going to enjoy. Nicholson and Grant not only picked the Lions, but actually said on the broadcast the only team for this one is the Lions. Apparently not. Flyers get the win. Me and Ads are laughing.
I talk so much crap.
Yeah, and none of us get the Gladiators, obviously. The second game was Bristol. No, it wasn't Bristol, was it? What was the second game? Cheshire. Yeah, no, we all picked Gladiators for that one, and no points along there. So, looking at the tallies, Nicholson 14, 15, 16 for you, 14 for Grant, 13 for Ads, 17 for me. It's tight, man. It's close, and there's plenty of games left to play. Let's
as we've said all season.
Yeah,
Still early.
theme of the podcast. Let's pick some for. So, is there none this weekend?
There's one.
Oh, really?
Is it not you guys playing Sheffield?
Yeah, is that the only game? Jeez, it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nicholson, man, we're gonna have the world watching us. The BBL world has got nothing else to watch. But Plymouth, I feel a bit more under pressure now. Plymouth City Patriots.
Your hype video better be good, man.
Oh shit! I better make a start on that. I'll make it 10 minutes long. Then we won't have to do anything before the game.
I might even make notes for this one.
I
want where players have come from, how many shot, what hand they shoot with. I want all sorts, Paul.
So that's it then.
Yeah,
there's only one game to predict. We're going to finish this podcast earlier than I thought, which is good because I've got to get up at 5. Let's predict.
Have you put the bins out yet?
No, I've got to do that. Yeah, not recycling tonight though, thankfully, and it is chucking it down outside right now. Go on then, Grant.
I'm going
Pats
to
or Sharks?
say that I think that Plymouth will be on the losing end of this one.
Oh,
or Sharks. I'm going to say Plymouth are going to win.
hey, started to type Sharks then. Ads, my man.
I'm going to remain eternally optimistic for the Pats and say the Pats.
Oh, crikey. Nicholson, do I need to ask? Or should I just start typing?
Yeah, just type it in.
Sharks. I'm never gonna tire with doing that. I'm not zagging. I'm going Pats for that one. Could be a good fixture though. Could be a tough matchup. We know that Troy Simons is doubtful for that one. Although, you never know with that kind of injury. It's a tough one. But I think that's it. I think we're done for this week. Thanks, fellas, for joining me. Thank you, Mr. Nicholson. Thank you, Grant. Thank you, Ads.
Nice
Thank
and
you
easy.
at home. Yeah, nice and easy. Thanks at home for sticking with us and listening to this one. We'll be back next week for more of the same, most likely. Until then, take it easy. We'll speak to you soon.
So sweet, little girls don't